Hey everyone, I hope you're all doing really well. Welcome to a book recommendation video. This is the very first book recommendation video that I'm actually doing on my YouTube channel ever, which is, I think, quite exciting. I do a lot of book recommendation posts on my Instagram and TikTok, but have never actually gotten around to doing one for my YouTube channel. So yeah, here I am with a list of books to share with you guys. Before we get to go into the book recommendations, I'd just like to give a shout out to the amazing sponsor of today's video, which is NordVPN. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of NordVPN before, but if you haven't, they are a virtual private network provider that helps to make the internet a better and safer place to be in, one that is free from online threats and surveillance. Surfing on the internet can be pretty dangerous with data leaks going unreported, meaning hackers can have access to your private information without you knowing. That's where NordVPN comes in handy. They monitor the dark web and give you alerts if someone is stealing your information, and NordVPN is also designed to help you avoid malware, meaning it blocks any dangerous ads and stops you from entering suspicious websites. If you're downloading a file, for example, NordVPN also helps remove anything harmful or infected before they are saved into your device. You can enjoy NordVPN while you're traveling or staying at home like me. I love that I can switch up my server to enjoy different shows online. Here I am enjoying one of my favorite films ever, Kimi no Nawa on Netflix, which I cannot stream on an Australian server, so I can simply switch to a Japanese server, and here I am being able to stream my favorite film ever. They also have iOS and Android apps that you can download to use on your phones or other streaming devices. You can use the link down below here to get a huge discount with the purchase of a 2-year plan plus 4 extra months. NordVPN is risk-free, and you do also get a 30-day money-back guarantee, which is great. Thank you once again to the wonderful sponsor of this video, NordVPN. Now let's get on to the book recommendations. Since I have Kimi no Nawa playing in the background here, I thought I'd select the theme of nostalgic / otherworldly setting / I'll find and love you in every lifetime kind of vibe for the books for today's book recommendation video. Do note that the books that I'm recommending are not in any way or form like Kimi no Nawa. They will just share the elements found in the movie, like magical realism, friendship, relatable characters, a gentle romance, things like that. So yes, I will first start with books with otherworldly themes. The first book that I wanted to share is The Unmaking of June Pharaoh by Adrienne Young. If you guys don't know, Adrienne Young is one of my favorite authors ever. I've read almost all of the books that she's put out, and The Unmaking of June Pharaoh was the very first book I've ever read by her. This book follows the pharaohs, who are known for their beautiful flower farm and also this curse that's been plaguing their family for as long as anyone can remember. The disappearance of Susanna Pharaoh has the whole town remembering the pharaoh name, and June Pharaoh questioning her family line and what her life entails being a pharaoh herself. June is determined to break this curse once and for all, and to do that, she has to start with her mother's disappearance. She starts to discover clues to her mother's life and her past, and then there's this door that starts to appear, and what she opens this door to may potentially change her life and even the pharaoh family line forever. I don't know what Adrienne Young puts in this book. I haven't been able to stop thinking about this book since I finished this in 2023. And the weird thing about this is that I rated this book 4 out of 5 stars at the time that I finished it. But because I seriously could not stop thinking about this for a full year, I decided to bump it up to 5 stars. It's that kind of book that I guess just doesn't leave you. This is the first book I read that involves a small town mystery with magical realism involved. I had no idea what to expect, but I ended up loving this so much. The small town vibes were perfect. The fact that the pharaohs own a flower farm was a whole vibe. The mystery was very intriguing. It was just such an interesting addition to the small town mystery / thriller combo. I feel like I talk about Adrienne Young in every one of my videos, but I personally think she's the best at writing romance. Her romance is very subtle and full of yearning, which is my favorite kind. There's no obvious outward attraction between her characters. You see them love and admire each other from afar, from their actions and from their words. I love the big emphasis on family in the story, from the way we see June grappling with the decisions presented to her. It's thrilling and emotional and so dreamy and otherworldly. I have since read Adrian Young's other small-town magical romance mystery books like Spells for Forgetting and A Sea of Unspoken Things, and I have loved every single one of them. Adrian Young can keep writing these books and make special editions for them, and I will eat them all up all the time and throw all my money at the special editions. I just adore this book so much. Alright, the next book that I have here is The Miracles of the Namiya General Store by Keiko Higashino. This story follows 3 delinquents who try to rob a long closed down general store when a letter mysteriously drops through the shop's mail slot. These letters come seeking for advice, so through the night the 3 thieves unexpectedly find themselves embodying the role of the former shopkeeper who used to give valuable counsel to those who seek his time. How beautiful does that sound? And how does this synopsis not pique anyone's interest? To this day, I don't think I can ever go a day without ever thinking about this book and how beautiful and wholesome and sweet and heartwarming this book is. The moment I read the synopsis, I knew I had to read it, and honestly the book delivered exactly as promised and so much more. For such a short book, this was so detailed and emotionally complex in a way that's so endearing and touching and heartbreaking all at the same time. I always find themes of turning over a new leaf as a hit or miss. They need to be done really well for me to be convinced and for me to like it. Otherwise it will come off as forced and a little bit cringy, but this was done so well. It's just so wholesome to see 3 good-for-nothing boys turn into a wise old man for a night. All the stories from the letters were tear-jerky, let me tell you that. They've also referenced some real-world events like the Japanese Olympics and even the classic Japanese band Southern All-Stars. The mention of this band was a highlight for me because my mom loved that band growing up. The mention of this band was a highlight for me because my mom loved this one song by the band growing up called Itoshi no Eri. She had a cute story linked to this song, so it's always going to be a special song for her, and I immediately sent her a text when the book mentioned the band, and we were just laughing over the fact that such a personal and core memory of my mom's can be found in this little book. It was just so special and makes it feel so nostalgic. I started playing the song on repeat while reading the book, and it was honestly so perfect. This is just such a beautiful, kind of otherworldly and dreamy book. The magical realism here was explored so perfectly. It just felt so real and like a dream all at the same time. I just love this book so much. It was perfectly sweet and emotional and so very wholesome. It now has a special place in my heart because of how close I feel to my mom as well when I read this book. So yes, I highly recommend this. You can see that I've annotated this as well. It was just such a beautiful read. Alright, the next book I have to share with you guys is Water Moon by Samantha Soto Yambao. I have here 3 different editions of the book just because I love this book so much, and I love all of the different editions of this book. They're just so beautiful and magical. This is the Illuminate edition. This one is the first edition hardback US edition, I believe. And this is the US arc, which I have annotated to complete bits and even added my book review on here. So you can tell that I absolutely love this book. I have raved on and on about Water Moon on my channel, but for some of you guys who have not heard of me talk about this book, Water Moon follows Hana, who is the daughter of a pawn shop owner, but this isn't your regular pawn shop. It's a place where people come to pawn their life choices and regrets. Hana wakes up to her first morning of being the pawn shop's new owner, only to find out that the shop has been ransacked. A precious item has been stolen, her dad went missing, and a curious stranger stumbling into the shop and unexpectedly offering Hana help. The two embark on the most magical, dreamiest journey with paper cranes and a night market in the clouds, and along the way, Hana is forced to reveal a secret that she's been hiding. This was just nothing short of amazing. It was the first book to make it to my 2025 favorites list for good reason. This had the most wondrous Studio Ghibli vibes, and by that I meant that it felt nostalgic and dreamy and a little absurd at times, and just so magical. If I were to compare this to a Studio Ghibli film in particular, I would say that it definitely feels the most like Spirited Away. Nothing is linear or straightforward, but the world still makes a lot of sense. I love the cultural references sprinkled throughout the novel. I was very pleasantly surprised by some of the Indonesian food references here as well. I rarely see Indo representation in books, so this threw me off a little bit, but in a good way, of course. And when I mentioned it to the author, she said that her family used to fly to and from Indo a lot, which is so cool. I love that she used a childhood memory to add more character and depth to the book. Think of the book as the same feeling you get when you're out eating a hot bowl of delicious ramen while it's pouring outside. It's cozy, it's magical, it feels almost weirdly nostalgic, and it's otherworldly, of course. I regret not putting on some cozy Studio Ghibli instrumental music while reading this, otherwise the ambience would have been absolutely perfect. So yes, I love this book so much. Highly recommend it for that sort of otherworldly vibe you want to get in your cozy books. Just gonna have a little matcha break because I really need one right now. Alright, the next thing that I have to talk about is I'll Find and Love You in Every Lifetime, and the first book that I wanted to share with you guys is A River Enchanted by Rebecca Ross. This is the first book in the Elements of Cadence duology, and it's about this island that has magic pretty much everywhere, in the winds, the lands, the water, fire, and something sinister is happening and young girls are starting to disappear from this island. So we follow Jack and Adira, who are childhood nemesis, as they try to seek answers as to why this is happening. I listened to this book as an audiobook and cannot recommend it enough. This book has a very lyrical and dreamy prose, so having the story read out to you felt very fitting. I love the audiobook so much that I even purchased these physical copies because they're just so stunning. I love how shiny and colorful these covers are. I'm just so obsessed. I think these covers represent the story, the beautiful story, really well. Rebecca Ross is also very well known for her beautiful writing, and while I think her Divine Rivals duology has their merits, her writing is very different in A River Enchanted, as these are her adult fantasy books and definitely reads much more maturely. The couples in both books are so pure and endearing. They definitely give off I will find and love you in every single lifetime. Their love for one another are so palpable, and the strong bond between them are unbreakable. My heart wrenches every single time I think of the characters. They all had to go through so much pain and heartbreak, and yet they always try to appear strong for each other. The couple see their significant others as their rock, and it totally shows. The magic here is also very beautifully written. I think the strong suit in these stories are definitely in the characters, and just the amount of love that they have for each other was just, and not just romantic love, it's also with family love between siblings and cousins and parents, even love for their people. It's just so beautiful. I don't know if I can use any other adjectives that can properly emphasize how delightful and how just stunning this duology is. Yes, so if you love beautiful writing with a sweet romance and likable, strong characters, you will love this duology. The next book that I have to show you guys is Our Infinite Fates by Laura Stephen. This is the same author as Silver Cloak, but where Silver Cloak is an adult fantasy, Our Infinite Fates is catered to a younger audience. This book follows Arden and Evelyn, who have both lived 8,000 lives, and every one of which ends the same way. They find each other, they love each other, and then eventually Arden kills Evelyn and they both die together. Evelyn and Arden's souls are tied together, so each time she dies, he dies as well. We then follow Evelyn as she's in this one life where she's very fond of it, and she's very fond of her little sister in that life, and this little sister is dying and may only survive if Evelyn gets through her 18th birthday to perform a bone marrow transplant. So Evelyn has to find a way to survive and save her sister and figure out why she's been hunted in her 1,000 lifetimes, and of course to break the curse once and for all. This was my first foray into Laura Stephen's books, and the one thing that really stood out to me was definitely her writing. I was instantly gripped, and normally a book may take like 50 to 100 pages for me to really get sucked into the story, but not with Our Infinite Fates. It piqued my interest the moment I read the first chapter, and it got me hooked till the very last page. I personally thought the story was unique. I know this gets compared to Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab a lot, but I haven't actually read Addie LaRue before, so I can't really say much about that comparison, but I love seeing the different lives that Arden and Evelyn gets to live through, the different characters they were playing, and how different yet familiar they all felt. That was one of the best things about this book, I think. I love the romance as well, the yearning, and the sad realization each time they found each other, and knowing how the story ends felt very palpable and emotional. This book is truly the epitome of I'll find and love you in every single lifetime. The way they are able to discover each other in every single lifetime, no matter the gender or the face or the age, it gets me all the time. The twist at the end, I wasn't the biggest fan of personally, but I am willing to overlook all of that for the amazing writing and characterization. Also, if you know the line in Exile by Taylor Swift that goes, "I think I've seen this film before and I didn't like the ending," the emotion in this line is exactly what this book will get you feeling. So good. I have even annotated this. And I've written a full-length review on my blog and my Goodreads. I really liked this one, and I highly recommend it as well. Okay, the last book that I have to share for this theme is Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. This is the first book in the Strange the Dreamer duology. The first book is Strange the Dreamer, and the second book is Muse of Nightmares. Honestly, any of Laini Taylor's books can fit into this category. The couples in all of her books are just so in love with each other, and in love in the sense that they will so much as lose themselves in order to be with each other. Anyway, Strange the Dreamer follows Laszlo, who is a junior librarian obsessed with the mythic lost city called Weep. Then he gets the chance to join a band of warriors to search the city and finds himself tangled up with the mysteries of Weep, including a certain blue-skinned goddess who appears in Laszlo's dreams. This book is literally a dream, the epitome of dreaming if you must. If you've read any of Laini Taylor's books, you'll know how beautiful and dreamy her writing is. Her writing borders on poetical prose, but rather than just being plain pretty words stringed up together, her writing adds depth and meaning to the story and characters she's so beautifully crafted. The romance is everything, the way you see them yearn for each other in dreams, the searing touches and deeply rooted love and care they have for one another. It's so tender. They're both just so good for each other. It hurts. Honestly, this whole duology just hurts. Muse of Nightmares, in my personal opinion, was unbelievably better than Strange the Dreamer. You can see here how much I have just annotated this, and the funny thing is that I actually listened to Muse of Nightmares completely as an audiobook, and I loved it so much that I went back and read the physical book just so I can annotate it. If that doesn't show you how much I enjoyed this duology, I don't know what will. If that sounds like something you guys would enjoy, this duology it's so criminally underrated, and I really wish people talk about this duology more. Laszlo and Sarai are just, I want to protect them. I don't want anything bad to happen to them, and they have to go through so much just to be with each other. It's actually kind of insane, but yes, it's perfection, guys. I love this duology so much. Okay guys, the final theme I have to share is relatable with a hint of nostalgia, and the first book that I wanted to share is Dead End Memories by Banana Yoshimoto. This is a collection of short stories following 5 women who have each experienced different types of heartbreak and pain and trauma, and their healing journey as the author portrays the beautiful small moments and normal everyday sorrows that surround us in our everyday lives. I knew nothing about this book going into this, apart from the fact that I've heard how masterful of a storyteller Banana Yoshimoto is, so I was very excited about reading this book, and let me tell you guys, it did not disappoint. This book also made it to my top 2024 list, and obviously for good reason. Sometimes translated fiction books are a hit or miss for me because maybe some of the words got lost in translation and the writing just don't flow very naturally. It feels like life itself was writing this book. It's a story about flaws and pain and how imperfect life is, but how imperfectly perfect they are with things like family and friends and even food around you, making life worth living. As you guys can see, I have annotated this book pretty heavily, I guess you could say, and it's because there were just so many moments in the book where I just went, how is the author constantly able to put my thoughts and feelings down into words so seamlessly? I was nodding along to so many of the quotes here too, and I just felt so seen. I adored all 5 of the short stories in here, which almost never happens with books that contain different stories and different characters. All of them tugged at my heartstrings and affected me in such an emotionally impactful way. It's brutally honest and raw in the most simplistic manner, Each story felt fleeting, and rightfully so since they were all very short, but it makes you yearn for more of the characters and their story. The romance subplots were also all amazingly done. They were also natural and had a great build-up, which again is surreal to me considering how short each story was. Such a wholesome and sweet book. I love it so much. Alright, this next book is going to be a long and personal one, but we have The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. As you can see, once again, I have multiple editions of this book. This is I believe the first edition UK hardback with the printed edges. We have the key, the bee, and the sword. It's got like beautiful end pages as well, very dreamy. I'm not sure if there's nothing in the hardback, but that's the hardback edition. And then we have this gorgeous fairy loot edition with the printed edges as well, with the key, sword, and the bee. So stunning. And then of course we have the regular paperback, which I have read twice now, and I have annotated twice as well, which feels very special to me because I love this book so much. I always struggle to talk about the summary of The Starless Sea, and the words that come to mind when describing this book are journey, nostalgia, and magic. I guess that's why the book is called The Starless Sea. You're constantly traveling across a vast ocean with no stars in the sky, and I guess you just won't stop until you see the light. The Starless Sea follows Zachary, and he finds a mysterious book in the library that, amongst a myriad of magical tales, contains a story from his own childhood, which is kind of creepy if you think about it, but curious to find out how and why this is the case. He follows a series of clues which contain a bee, a key, and a sword. He finds himself at a masquerade ball in New York City, entering a secret club and discovering a place of lost cities, tragic lovers, and stories. Together with two other friends he met along the way, Zachary navigates through this magical world to discover his purpose in both the book he picked up and in his own life. I actually want to read to you guys the review that I wrote for The Starless Sea back in 2019, which is when it was released. Here's what I wrote. I don't really know where to start, but I can say that my thoughts are still swimming from the whimsicality and pure magic that is The Starless Sea. This weird feeling of nostalgia will not leave me, but I cannot place a finger on what it is that triggers it. Maybe a film that I've seen a long time ago, a distant memory, a dream, perhaps all three. Reading this book is like entering a dream. Just like the main character, you are constantly discovering, constantly learning, constantly trying to decipher what is real and what is not. Erin Morgenstern is giving her readers first-class seats on this extravagant journey that she has so carefully crafted, spoon-feeding us with words of loss and love. Granted, the wistful writing and slow pacing of the book might not be everyone's cup of tea. I thought both conventions were done very well, and thus went hand in hand to create an exceptional storytelling tone. There are so many different factors that play a part in this book, namely time and space. There were talks of fable and myths, romantic tales from the past, secret oddities, love, fate. It is a story filled with stories, each unique to one's own. It feels like you're reading multiple books at once. You enter all these different worlds and meet so many different characters, and all for a short amount of time. It's magical and nonsensical and wonderful and so beautiful. The best part is that the main character is reading all of these stories along with you, and he actually has thought on them as well, which is very meta, but very cool. It felt so surreal to know that the main character said the exact same things about one of the stories in the book that I wrote my thoughts on. The inception feels unreal, or I guess Erin Morgenstern is just a genius. Most probably the latter. One thing I would like to mention is that this is a very different yet familiar style of writing that you would expect from the author who created the intricate masterpiece that is The Night Circus. Perhaps it is the modern POV of a college boy that creates the distinction, but so many other aspects of the novel has reminded me so much of why I fell in love with Morgenstern's writing and storytelling in the first place. It's unique and beautiful all by itself, but you can still feel the essence of The Night Circus when you read The Starless Sea. It's just just beautiful. I'm still at a whirlwind-like state after finishing this novel, which is why I will leave my rating as 4.5 out of 5 stars. However, it strays close to 5 stars just because it was an absolutely brilliant novel that I've loved dog-earing and annotating. There are so many phrases in the book that I just felt in awe of. The whole world, the writing, the characters, just impeccable. Please pick this novel up if you haven't thought of doing so already. Alright, so that was my review. I can't quite believe that I wrote that review back in 2019. I read The Starless Sea a second time last year, and everything in this review is still very valid, which I'm very happy about. So I love this one. It's just such a special book to me, and if it's not obvious enough, I highly recommend you guys picking this up as well. Alright, so the very last book that I have to share with you guys for this theme and for this whole video is I Am Not Jessica Chen by Anne Liang. Out of all the Anne Liang books I've read, this is probably my favorite book by her. This book follows Jenna, who is constantly overshadowed by her golden girl of a cousin, Jessica Chen. When news broke out that Jenna didn't get accepted to any Ivy League she applied to. Grieved by her immigrant Asian parents' disappointment, she wishes to switch bodies with Harvard-bound Jessica Chen, only to wake up the next morning in Jessica Chen's body, so her wish was granted. But all that glitter is not gold, and soon Jenna realizes that being the perfect golden girl isn't quite what she expects it to be. But the more concerning issue is that the real Jenna Chen is starting to waver from everyone's memory, so Jenna has to decide once and for all if she wants to continue portraying the perfect life of Jessica Chen and lose her true self forever. This is a YA contemporary / academia fiction novel, but really anyone of all ages can read it and find themselves relating to Jenna Chen. It's funny that this book is about being in the body of someone else, because while you're reading this, you truly feel like you're actually in Jessica Chen's body and inside Jenna Chen's mind. That's the thing I love about Anne Liang and her books. They're very immersive and so painfully relatable. All the stress that Jenna is experiencing with grades and applications all felt so real. Too nostalgic. I grew up with my grades being heavily scrutinized by my Asian family as well, and so I could totally understand everything Jenna and Jessica had to go through. Alexa played Jealousy Jealousy by Olivia Rodrigo. The tension and anxiety and the stress and the pressure, you feel it all. You feel the pain and jealousy from Jenna, but you're also rooting for Jessica, which I kind of like that. You can almost feel everyone's eyes on you, watching you make the next step and secretly hoping you would slip. It's pretty surreal. Anne Liang's writing is clever and eloquent as always. The way she defines success and glory as if they're something of a borrowed skin, that no matter how perfect you are, you will never ever be enough, and that one misstep means someone else is going to come for your crown. I appreciate the acknowledgement that academia does not solely depend on how hard you work or how naturally clever you are. In fact, things like race, privilege, people of power, and even staff can have a larger effect on the trajectory of one's academic career. This was such a thought-provoking part of the book, and I love that. I just love the variety in perspectives from different student bodies that add so much depth to the characters and even the topic of academia itself. Emotional burden is often a thing looked over and experienced differently by everyone, whether you're a straight A student, the student who always comes second, or even the student who studies and tries day and night and will still never be able to get anywhere near the top list of students. And I enjoyed being able to understand both sides of the same coin without the author making you choose between who is the better person between each of these people. Just such a good book. For a 300-page novel, this was amazing and wrapped up so well. Again, you can see how much I really love this. I have recommended this book to so many people. It's like fluffy but also serious and emotional, and just so well done. I don't really have anything bad to say about this book. It was just brilliant, like 10 out of 10. Alright, that is the end of the book recommendations. I hope you guys found something new to read. I love all of these books so much, and I hope you guys will as well. If you've read any of these before, please let me know, and if there are any books that you think will be a great addition to this list of book recommendations, please leave them in the comments below. I'd love to add some new books to my TBR. If you made it to the end of the video, thank you so much. I'm so grateful for all of your support and hope to see you in my next video. Thank you again to NordVPN for sponsoring this video. I'm almost finished with Kimi no Nawa, so I've just been loving this whole like dreamy vibe and recommending books based on films that I've watched and loved. So if you guys enjoy that as well, please let me know and I will totally make a book recommendation similar to this one as well. But yes, thank you again for being here, and I hope to see you guys in my next video. Take care, everyone. Bye.